What's happening, everyone? My name is Alex and welcome back. For this camera comparison we have the brand new OPPO N2 Flip and of course the iPhone 14 Pro. Now if you are using the front-facing camera on the OPPO N2 Flip, the maximum recording resolution is 1080p, or of course on the iPhone 14 Pro the maximum recording resolution is 4K at 60 frames per second. We are currently doing 4K at 30 frames per second. We have a super sunny day out today, but it is a bit windy, so you may hear some wind aside from my voice. I'm also gonna start walking just so you can see how that video stabilization works while walking. And we're gonna turn around, so the sun is gonna be right behind me this time around, but just so you can see how both cameras work under these conditions. Alright, so next we are gonna switch over the rear cameras and I'm gonna show you some sample recordings that I've done with the rear cameras. Alright, so for our next recording we are using the main camera on the back of each device. So on the back of the N2 Flip and of course on the back of the iPhone 14 Pro. And I am recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. The maximum recording resolution for both devices is 4K at 60 frames per second with that main camera. I'm also walking just so you can see how the video stabilization works on both devices. And we're gonna start running for a second. And we'll stop somewhere around here. We're gonna pan right slowly. And back left. So yeah, this is how recording done with the main camera on the back of the iPhone 14 Pro and the OPPO N2 Flip would look like on a pretty sunny day. Alright, and we are moving on to our next recording. For this recording I've switched the cameras to the ultra-wide cameras on the back of the two devices. Now, if you're recording the ultra-wide camera on the back of the OPPO N2 Flip, the maximum recording resolution is 1080p, where of course on the iPhone 14 Pro the maximum recording resolution is still gonna be 4K at 60 frames per second. So I'm just gonna spin around this way and we'll keep going. And I'm actually gonna go down the stairs. So if you're using that ultra-wide camera, you're not gonna be able to record in 4K. So I'm gonna start walking as fast as I can, just so you can see how that video stabilization works. And we'll turn around. So ultra-wide cameras on the back of the OPPO N2 Flip and of course the iPhone 14 Pro. And I also wanted to show you a 4K at 60 frames per second recording done with the main cameras, but then I realized that when I switch to 60 frames per second, the OPPO N2 Flip changes the resolution to 1080p. So you cannot do 4K at 60 frames per second, you can do 1080p at 60 frames per second, and that's what we are doing now. With the iPhone 14 Pro, we are doing 4K at 60 frames per second with the main camera. So I'm just gonna walk all the way here. We're gonna stop somewhere around here and we're gonna pan right slowly. So yeah, 4K at 60 with the iPhone and 1080p at 60 with the OPPO N2 Flip. Alright, we have a quick video test in low light between the OPPO N2 Flip and of course the iPhone 14 Pro. For this recording I'm using the main cameras on the back of the two devices and recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. Both devices can also do 4K at 60 frames per second. So we're gonna stop here, we're gonna pan right slowly. And we'll walk this way for a bit. So yeah, this is how a low light recording between this iPhone and the OPPO N2 Flip would look like if you're recording in low light, so basically at night. Alright, so now that you've seen those videos, definitely leave a comment and let me know your thoughts. Did the OPPO N2 Flip do good enough? Were you expecting better? What are your thoughts after seeing all that footage? So definitely let me know. Okay, so next we are gonna move on and check out some sample pictures. I do have a variety of pictures here and we are starting with some pictures that I took with the main cameras. All the pictures are taken on auto mode and about a second apart from each other. Okay, so I took these pictures early in the morning, just after sunrise, and in many of these pictures I like the fact that the OPPO N2 Flip kind of retains that mood, that feeling of that moment when I took the pictures. So yes, the pictures from the N2 Flip are more saturated, but they did match this time of the day, I'm gonna say. So many of those pictures, yes, I do prefer how they look from the OPPO N2 Flip. I've also noticed that dynamic range in most of those pictures taken by the OPPO is better than the same pictures taken by the iPhone 14 Pro. So for the main camera, if you could turn down that saturation, because in some pictures you can definitely see those colors are a bit too saturated, I do prefer many of the pictures taken by the N2 Flip compared to the same pictures that I took with the iPhone 14 Pro. But definitely leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Which pictures do you prefer taken by the main camera? The iPhone pictures or the OPPO pictures? Okay, and we are moving on to zoom pictures, and keep in mind that the OPPO N2 Flip doesn't have a telephoto lens, so I've only done 2 times zoom with both devices, so it can keep it fair, because if I would do 10 times zoom it wouldn't be that fair. Now here looking at those pictures, I can't really see that big of a difference between them. Maybe the pictures from the iPhone 14 Pro are slightly sharper, but you shouldn't have any issues taking pictures doing 2 times zoom. And if you're wondering what that says, freedom is the art of living, that quote there that's in Spanish. Okay, so next we're gonna move on and check out some pictures that I took with the ultra-wide cameras. Here the first thing you'll notice is the fact that the pictures from the iPhone 14 Pro are a bit wider, so you can see more in those pictures compared to the ones taken by the OPPO N2 Flip. Now, the dynamic range in those pictures does seem to be better in the pictures taken by the OPPO N2 Flip, but if you look close enough of those pictures, you will notice that the pictures from the iPhone 14 Pro are much sharper. So that's kind of the theme here. The iPhone will take sharper pictures, but overall I can't say that the pictures from the N2 Flip are bad. But let me know your thoughts. What do you think about those ultra-wide pictures? Okay, and we are moving on to portrait mode pictures. Now here I can't really say that one is so much better than the other one. I noticed, however, that the OPPO N2 Flip does seem to have a bit of a filter over my face, because it does smoothen my skin a bit, so I guess I look a bit younger in the pictures taken by the OPPO N2 Flip, but overall I do feel that the iPhone 14 Pro retained my face, the way that I look better for those portrait mode pictures. But for the edge detection around the subject, pretty decent from both devices. Alright, and next we are moving on to nighttime pictures, and for all the nighttime pictures that you're about to see, I did use the night modes available on both devices, and of course we are starting with the pictures taken with the main camera and the night mode. Now what I've noticed here is the fact that the pictures from the iPhone 14 Pro do seem to be a bit brighter in most situations, mostly in the situations where it was a bit darker, so the iPhone will get somewhat brighter pictures. Now, looking at the picture sharpness here, it seems that the iPhone 14 Pro does have the sharper pictures. If you look at the pictures taken by the OPPO N2 Flip with that night mode, it almost seems like they are a bit softer. So overall, yes, for those nighttime pictures, I do prefer the pictures taken by the iPhone 14 Pro, and of course with that night mode. But what do you guys think about the night mode on the OPPO N2 Flip? Definitely leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Moving on to pictures taken with the ultra-wide cameras and of course the night mode. Well, for brightness here the pictures do look somewhat similar between the iPhone and of course the OPPO N2 Flip. But once again, if you do look close enough at those pictures, you will notice that the pictures from the iPhone 14 Pro are definitely sharper. The pictures from the OPPO N2 Flip are somewhat softer, I'm gonna say. So overall, the iPhone 14 Pro does seem to do better for these ultra-wide pictures and once again the night mode. But once again, leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Are these pictures what you're expecting? Are they better? Are they worse? Definitely leave a comment and let me know. And lastly, we are gonna check out some selfies. And of course, we are starting with some daytime selfies. And for the daytime selfies, I do prefer the pictures that I took with the iPhone 14 Pro. It retains the way that my face looks better. The pictures also seem to be sharper and much better dynamic range. As for the pictures taken at night, well, for some of those pictures, the OPPO seems to do better, and for some, the iPhone. I can't really say which one would be the better one for me, because realistically neither does that amazing for those selfies. So there you have it. This is how the OPPO N2 Flip takes pictures in different situations. Definitely leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Are the cameras on this phone good enough? Were you expecting better? Definitely leave a comment and let me know. Alright guys, hopefully this video was useful. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.